After 8 generations and 48 years, the Volkswagen Passat is now being discontinued. Formerly known as the Dasher, Quantum, Santana, the Passat is being dropped in favor of crossovers and EVs. And in today's video, we're going to discuss this shocking news as well as talk about what's next for the shrinking sedan market. Welcome back, Luxurious Fleet. My name is Kirk. If you're new, I typically talk about Japanese and Korean autos. When we get news like this, I get fired up, regardless if it's a Japanese vehicle or if it's a German or an American vehicle. When there's monumental news like this, it needs to be talked about. And it's right off the heels of like the Lexus GS being canceled, as well as like the Toyota Crown rumored to being scrapped for a SUV, just like the Passat in this case. And let's get into the dirtiness. Don't know why I said dirtiness, but we're at automotive news. Volkswagen will axe Passat in US and Europe, sources say. So if you thought it would be safe in its home market, in its biggest market, it's not. It's going to be scrapped. The only variant that is going to survive in Germany and other parts of Europe is going to be the 5-door version of the Passat wagon, okay? And that will last until 2023. And what's even crazier, it's still Europe's best-selling mid-size model with a volume of almost 90,000 units through October this year. And its closest competitor is actually its own clone from Skoda. They called it the Superb. Of course, we don't have Skoda here in the United States, but that had about 48,000 units. Going forward, the size of this market in the United States will be negligible. Well, for Volkswagen, it will be negligible. When we get to the spreadsheet here in a little bit, it'll make a lot of sense why they're doing this. But for Europe, it's a little bit more quizzical to me. So they build the US version of the Passat in the Volkswagen plant in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where they also make the Atlas. The Jetta is still the best-selling vehicle, followed by the Atlas at number 2. But because of COVID and everything, the Atlas is having an actually really bad year for the first 3 quarters, which that isn't the case for all large 3-row crossovers. If we look at the Mazda CX-9, for example, that's like positive on the year. So it's not because of the size of the vehicle. It's due to a lot of other factors here why Volkswagen's doing so poorly in more than one segment. And a part of that is because of cannibalization, because they tallied almost 18,000 units of the new Atlas Cross Sport, which is, to me is like the poor man's Audi Q8, very good looking crossover SUV, large, even though it's just 2 rows, it's still really good looking. Doesn't have the powertrains as the Audi variants, but man, it is based on the same platform as we know. Now, Automotive News is saying that the Passat is, although it's being canceled in Europe, the Skoda Superb is still going to live on there just to remove the internal competition, which makes a lot of sense. So if you still want the Passat in Europe, well, maybe you can find a new 5-door variant going forward, or just look for the Skoda variant. That's your best choice. I guess your only choices at this part in time. With the cancellation of the Passat, it allows more production capacity in the Emden plant for EVs, like the ID4 crossover and a midsize electric sedan codenamed the Aero B. So really the true successor, in my opinion, to the Passat is this upcoming Aero B, although it's fully electric. And the ID4 is scheduled to be built in Chattanooga starting in 2022. Here's one of the more surprising facts for me. Business fleets are now the main European purchasers of midsize sedans. In Germany, 90% of Passats are registered to corporate buyers who usually choose the wagon version for its greater functionality, hence why they're keeping the wagon. And they have to remind us that Ford, Chrysler, Buick, and Dodge have already abandoned this segment, which we'll talk about Dodge here in a little bit, and Chrysler, because I feel like they actually could have stuck around in this segment, but let's keep going. And the Arteon, the good-looking kind of coupe-like sedan, is going to be scrapped as well in favor of the Aero or the Aero B, whatever they decide to call this electric midsize sedan from Volkswagen. And you guys know what time it is? I'm hearing something. Spreadsheet? It's a spreadsheet. Come on, guys. It's spreadsheet time. Through these numbers for you guys with the remaining vehicles, or at least the vehicles that we had in 2019, because apparently these guys at the end, the Chrysler 300 and the Dodge Charger, are being canceled, which surprises me because they have been doing fairly well. I mean, the 300s dropped quite a bit. Okay, they've dropped 37% between 18 and 19. But the Charger is the only one on this list that went up in volume from 2018 to 2019. They were up 20% from 80,000 units to almost 97,000 units. It doesn't make sense. Often Dodge products don't make sense anyways, but here we go. Looking at the Passat, and these numbers are very telling, and it makes sense why they're going to cancel it. Units in 2018, a little over 41,000, and they had about 3.5% of the market back in 2018. Not great, but there's other cars in 2018 that sold a similar amount. The Maxima, they were outselling the Mazda 6, the Subaru Legacy, and they're pretty close to the Chrysler 300. Well, you fast forward a year, in 2019, they dropped about 66% of sales. It's just like the car vanished. I don't know if it was since they knew they were canceling the vehicle, maybe they didn't produce a whole lot. I don't know what the issue is, but there shouldn't be a 66% drop just because of reduced interest. It's possible, of course it's possible, but based off the normal drops here, 17, 18, 8%, 30% in the Mazda 6, 12% in the Legacy, 16% in the Sonata, 5% in the Optima, 37% down on the 300. No one's even close to the amount of volume droppage as the Passat. So either they're like, we're going to reduce volume because we're canceling it, or is the other way around. It's sales just absolutely tanked. So they're like, okay, now's the time to pull the plug. Either way, the result is the same, and the Passat is no more. And by the end of 2019, they only had a little more than 1% of the midsize sedan market. Only 10 cars in this segment in 2019, and you have 1% of the market. You're not doing something right there. Of course, the big players, the Camry has a third of the market by itself. The Accord has over a quarter of the market by itself, and the rest are really, really small players. Even though the Sonata and the Optima both have roughly 10% of the market each, so they're going to stick around for a long time. But the Legacy having just 3%, the Mazda 6, they're still sticking with the Mazda 6, and it's probably one of the better options in this list. Definitely a very compelling option. If you guys haven't seen my review on the Mazda 6, but just 2% of the market, and they're doubling or tripling down on this segment because they're going to be replacing a front wheel drive platform with a rear wheel drive platform, an inline 6, which you guys, if you watch my channel, you know plenty about the upcoming Mazda Skyactiv platforms that they're going to be bringing out. So are you guys saddened by the strangulation of the midsize sedan market? Are you sad that the Passat is leaving us? I don't really have any personal ties to it. My brother-in-law had a Passat for a few years. It was always in the shop. One of my good buddies, he had a Passat when he worked at Lexus. He still works at Lexus, but he traded in for a Lexus IS. Why not? But those are the only two people that I can think of that have ever owned a Passat. And with volume numbers this low in recent years, it makes sense why they're canceling it. They know crossovers are the big game in town, and EVs is what all Volkswagen really wants to do anymore. So it's kind of sad because anytime you have a legacy longtime nameplate just vanish, you know, it feels like we're missing something in the auto industry. It feels like we're missing something on the roads. And what's next? I mean, the 300 Charger, the Chrysler 300, the Dodge Charger seem to be gone at this point in time. I don't see the Optima. Well, the Optima is gone, but it's replaced with the K5. So I don't see the Sonata or K5 going anywhere. I don't see the Legacy going anywhere. Really? Mazda 6 definitely isn't going anywhere. Accord and Camry aren't going anywhere. The Maxima actually could be ripped. Rip Maxima. That'd be my guess for the next one on this list to follow the domino effect that's going on in the midsize market. And just one more piece of news before we finish up, guys. Hyundai and Kia agreed to $210 million United States auto civil safety penalty. And going over to the Hyundai page, they go into quite a bit of detail here. But this is regarding an inquiry that was by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration regarding the timeliness and scope of its 2015 and 2017 recalls involving the 2011 and 2014 Sonata, as well as the 2013 and 2014 Santa Fe. These recalls address manufacturing issues that could lead to bearing wear and engine failure. While we've also heard about a ton of fires lately as well. But Hyundai is paying a cash penalty of $54 million, and they're making investments of $40 million to improve its safety operations and be subject to a possible deferred payment of $46 million dependent upon Hyundai's compliance with the NHTSA consent order. But Hyundai's not alone in this. Kia also has a ton of penalties, $70 million, including an upfront payment of $27 million, and requirements to spend $16 million on specified safety measures, and a potential $27 million deferred penalty. And the NHTSA say it's critical that manufacturers appropriately recognize the urgency of their safety recall responsibilities and provide timely and candid information to the agency about these issues. Doesn't look good for Hyundai and Kia. They haven't been as timely or as communicative as they should have been about these really life-threatening issues. But guess who else is under investigation for something similar by the NHTSA? Tesla. NHTSA opens probe into 115,000 vehicles over suspension issue. Now, Tesla has said, these are not big issues that are going on, but if you follow Tesla and you don't live under a rock, you've surely heard about these suspension issues. These are affecting 2015 and 2017 Model S and 16 and 17 Model X vehicles, receiving 43 complaints alleging failure of left or right front suspension forelinks. Now, they also got in a lot of trouble in China recently for insufficient suspensions, and they had big recalls there. And if we go down to the comment sections, because comment sections are pure gold nowadays, of course you guys know, one of the commenters posted this here. This is bad, wompy wheel syndrome causing Teslas to crash. You have all these different incidences of different Teslas being either the wheels just falling off or in bad accidents because of the suspension just breaking. And a lot of the times these are done at low speeds. Some of the times they're done at speed, which is extraordinarily dangerous and can threaten people's lives. But despite that, Tesla says these are all freak happenstances, right? Look at this 1 week old Tesla X wheel just fall off. Elon Musk, sir. Scary things, okay? And that's the thing. I'm excited about Tesla in a lot of ways, but with the rate that they're scaling, there's no way that they can have adequate quality control, in my opinion. Anything's possible. But when you're scaling that many vehicles that fast, I'm not going to buy a Tesla anytime soon. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Don't have to worry about my safety. But guys, I'm going to wrap that up today. Passat gone. Kia, Hyundai getting fined a ton of money, and investigations going on within Tesla vehicles. Rest in peace, Passat. I think I'm going to miss you, especially the TDIs. That was probably one of the first nails in the coffin for the Passat was the cancellation, or I should say the Dieselgate. Dieselgate had something to do with it, I'm sure. But guys, I'll see you in the comments. Rest in peace, Passat. Not really that sad about it, but it is sad to see a long time household nameplate in the auto industry just vanish overnight. So guys, I will see you guys in the comments. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.